Picture this, bro. It's a warm Friday night in Chicago, and you're on your third date with Emma, a girl you've been falling hard for over the past month. You're sitting across from her at a cozy little Italian spot in the West Loop. Dim lights, soft music, the smell of fresh pizza in the air. Emma's laughing at your stories about your crazy coworkers, her eyes sparkling as she sips her wine. And you're thinking, man, this girl's different. She's the real deal. The night's going so well that when you walk her to her car, she gives you a quick kiss on the cheek and says, "I had such a good time, John. Let's do this again soon." You drive home feeling like you're on top of the world, replaying every moment in your head, already planning the next date. You're 32. You've been through your share of heartbreak, but this time, it feels like you finally found someone who gets you. Fast forward 6 months, and things aren't so rosy anymore. You and Emma are still together, but something's changed. Something you can't quite put your finger on. That warm, bubbly girl from your early dates, she's still there sometimes. But other times, she's distant, almost cold. You're starting to feel like you're walking on eggshells around her. Always trying to decode her moods, her silences, her little sighs that make your stomach drop. Like last weekend, you wanted to go watch the Bears game with your boys, something you've done every Sunday for years. You mentioned it to Emma, and she didn't say no, but her face changed. She got quiet, gave you this look that made you feel like you were letting her down, and said, "Oh, okay, I just thought we'd spend the day together." You didn't argue, bro. You didn't want to upset her, so you canceled on your friends, stayed home with her, and watched some rom-com she picked. But deep down, you felt off, like you were losing a piece of yourself, like you're playing a game where only she knows the rules. Now, I know what you're thinking, man. You're probably thinking, what the hell happened? Was Emma just pretending at the start? Is she trying to control me? Or maybe you're wondering if you did something wrong, if you're not enough for her anymore. But here's the thing, bro. What you're feeling isn't your fault, and it's not just Emma's fault either. It's not even about her being a manipulative woman or you being a pushover guy. What you're caught up in is something way bigger. A hidden dynamic in relationships that most of us don't even see, let alone know how to handle. In the next 30 minutes, we're diving deep into the real game of love, the one nobody told you about. We're going to decode the power dynamics that make relationships feel like a battlefield. And I'm going to show you how to break free, build something real, and love without losing yourself in the process. See, what's happening between you and Emma isn't new. It's as old as time. And it's not just a woman thing either. Both men and women play this game, often without even realizing it, because of how we're wired and how society shaped us. A 2023 survey from the American Psychological Association found that 65% of couples admit to using emotions to influence their partner's behavior. Stuff like getting quiet to make the other feel guilty, or pulling away to get more attention. It's not just women doing this, bro. Guys do it too. Maybe you've gotten mad and given Emma the cold shoulder when she wanted to go on a girls' trip, hoping she'd feel bad and cancel. We're all in on this, man. Because deep down, we've been taught that love means control, that relationships are about getting the upper hand, even if we don't admit it. But here's the kicker. These power dynamics aren't personal. They're not about Emma trying to mess with your head or you being weak for giving in. They're rooted in thousands of years of evolution, in the way men and women have learned to survive, and in the crazy pressures society puts on us to act a certain way. The problem is, nobody's ever taught us how to spot this game, let alone how to play it in a way that doesn't leave us drained, confused, or feeling like we've lost ourselves. Most guys think it's all on the woman. that she's the one playing games. But that's a big mistake, bro. You're in the game too, and the sooner you see that, the sooner you can start rewriting the rules. So how did we get here? Why do relationships feel like a chess match where you're always one move behind? And more importantly, how can you stop playing this game and start building something real? Something that doesn't make you feel like you're losing yourself every time you try to love someone. Stick with me, bro, because we're about to break down the hidden rules of love. And by the end of this, you'll have the tools to love smarter, stronger, and on your own terms. Let's figure out why this game exists and how you can win at love without losing who you are. So, bro, we left off with John and Emma, that couple in Chicago, where John's starting to feel like he's stuck in a game he can't win, always trying to guess Emma's moods, feeling like he's got to change himself just to keep her happy. You've probably been there too, man, wondering why relationships can feel like a battlefield, even when you both started off so good. But here's the thing. What's going on between John and Emma isn't just about them. It's about how men and women have been playing this game of love for thousands of years. It's not personal, bro. It's not even about Emma trying to mess with John's head, or John being too weak to stand up for himself. It's deeper than that, rooted in how we've evolved as a species and how the world we live in today has changed the rules. Let's break this down, because once you understand why men and women approach love so differently, you'll stop taking it personally and start seeing the bigger picture. Let's go way back, bro. Like caveman days back. Imagine you're a dude 10,000 years ago, living in a tribe somewhere in what's now Europe. Your job is simple but brutal. Hunt, protect, provide. You're out there with a spear, trying to take down a mammoth so your tribe doesn't starve, or fighting off another group that's coming for your resources. You're bigger, stronger, faster. That's your edge, and you use it directly to survive. That's what evolutionary psychologists like David Buss talk about in his book, Evolutionary Psychology, from 1994. Men evolved to impose their will directly on the world, through physical strength, through building stuff, through leading the hunt. It's why guys today still feel this drive to do, to fix, to take charge in a straight-up way. You see it when you're with your boys. Bro, someone's car breaks down and you're the first one popping the hood. Trying to figure it out, even if you've got no clue what you're doing. That's that caveman instinct kicking in. Now, let's flip it to the women back then. They didn't have the same physical edge. Biologically, they're smaller, often pregnant or caring for kids, so direct power wasn't their game. But they had to survive too, right? So they got really good at something else, influencing the people who had that direct power, the men. They used emotions, relationships, and psychology to make sure they and their kids were safe. Picture a woman in that tribe. She can't fight off an enemy herself, but she can make sure her man feels like a hero for doing it. Maybe she's extra warm, extra supportive when he brings back food, or she pulls away a bit when he doesn't step up, making him feel like he's got to do better. That's what Buss calls an indirect strategy, shaping someone's behavior through feelings, not force. It's why women today, like Emma, might not tell John straight up, "Don't go to the game with your boys," but she'll give him that look, that sigh, that makes him feel like he's letting her down if he goes. But here's where it gets interesting, bro. Those strategies didn't just disappear when we stopped living in caves. They stuck around, hardwired into how we think and act in relationships today. A 2019 study from the University of Texas found that women are 30% more likely than men to use emotional cues like pulling away or showing affection to influence their partner's behavior. That's not because women are sneaky, man. It's because for thousands of years, that was their best shot at survival. Men, on the other hand, are more likely to use direct strategies, like showing anger or pulling back emotionally to get their way. Think about it. Have you ever gotten pissed off when your girl does something you don't like going on a girls' trip, and you give her the silent treatment until she cancels? A 2022 study from UCLA found that 40% of men admit to doing that at least once in a relationship. That's your caveman brain at work, bro, trying to take control the way your ancestors did with a spear. Now let's fast forward to today, because the game's changed a lot since the caveman days, thanks to stuff like gender equality and modern culture. Women don't need men to survive the way they did 10,000 years ago. They've got their own careers, their own money, their own power. Take someone like Sarah, a 35-year-old marketing manager in New York. She's killing it at her job, managing a team of 20, making 6 figures. And she doesn't need a guy to provide for her. But when it comes to her relationship with her boyfriend, Matt, she still falls back on those old-school strategies sometimes. Like when Matt wants to take a solo trip to Vegas with his friends. She doesn't tell him no, but she gets quiet, acts a little hurt, says stuff like, "I just thought we'd spend that weekend together." Matt feels guilty, cancels his trip, and Sarah gets what she wants. Why does she do that, bro? Not because she's trying to mess with him, but because society still expects women to be soft, to not be too direct, or they'll get labeled as bossy or needy. A 2023 survey from Pew Research found that 60% of Americans still think women should be nurturing in relationships, even if they're running the show at work. But here's the flip side, man. Guys like Matt aren't off the hook either. He might feel like Emma's controlling him, but he's playing the game too. When Sarah pushes for more commitment, like talking about moving in together, Matt gets all distant, stops texting as much, makes her feel like she's asking for too much. That's his way of taking control, bro. Just like Sarah's quiet guilt trips are hers. Both of them are caught in this dance, trying to influence each other without even realizing why they're doing it. And that's the big lesson here. These games, these power dynamics aren't personal. They're not about you being a bad boyfriend or her being a manipulative girlfriend. They're about how we've all been shaped by evolution, by society, by the crazy expectations we put on each other to play this game of love in ways that leave us both feeling stuck. So, how do these games play out in the real world, man? And why do they end up leaving you both drained, even when you're trying to love each other? Let's dig into that next, because once you see how this emotional chessboard works, you'll be ready to start rewriting the rules for yourself. All right, bro, let's pick up where we left off with John and Emma in Chicago. And let's throw in another couple, Lisa and Mike from Seattle, to really drive this home. We've seen how men and women play different games in love, shaped by evolution and society. Like how Emma uses her sighs and silences to get John to stay home instead of hitting up the Bears game with his boys. But here's the thing, man. It's not just Emma, or women in general, playing this game with their feelings. Guys like John, and maybe you too, are just as much a part of it, using emotions to influence their partners in ways they don't even realize. Relationships can turn into an emotional chessboard, where both of you are making moves to get what you want, often without even knowing. Let's break this down, because once you see how this chessboard works, you'll be ready to step off it and start playing a better game. Let's start with Lisa and Mike in Seattle. They've been dating for about a year, and things have gotten pretty serious. Lisa's a 29-year-old graphic designer, creative and outgoing, while Mike's a 31-year-old accountant, more reserved but super loyal. At first, their differences were what made things fun. Lisa loved dragging Mike to art galleries, and he'd get her to chill with a Netflix marathon. But lately, they've been fighting a lot, and it's always the same kind of fight. Last month, Mike wanted to go hiking with his buddies for the weekend, something he's done since college to clear his head. He told Lisa about it, expecting her to be cool with it. But her whole vibe changed. She didn't say don't go, but she got quiet, started scrolling on her phone, and when Mike asked what was wrong, she sighed and said, "I just thought we'd do something together this weekend, but I guess I'm not a priority." Mike's gut dropped. He didn't want to make her feel bad, so he canceled his trip, stayed home, and took her to brunch instead. But deep down, bro, he felt resentful, like he couldn't do anything without making her upset. Lisa wasn't trying to be a bad girlfriend. She just wanted to feel close to Mike, but her way of showing that was using her emotions to influence him, making him feel guilty for wanting his own space. Now here's the flip side, bro. Mike's not innocent in this either. A couple of weeks later, Lisa wanted to go to a concert with her girlfriends, something she was really excited about. She told Mike, thinking he'd be happy for her, but he got all moody. He didn't say, "You can't go," but he started acting distant, barely texting her back, giving one-word answers when she tried to talk. When Lisa asked what was up, he shrugged and said, "I just don't get why you need to go out all the time. I thought we were good." Lisa felt like she'd done something wrong, even though she hadn't, and she ended up skipping the concert to stay home with Mike, hoping it'd make things better. But just like Mike felt resentful before, now Lisa's the one feeling off, like she can't have fun without worrying about his reaction. Both of them are using their emotions to influence the other, man. Lisa with her guilt trips, Mike with his cold shoulder, and neither of them even sees it. But here's the problem, bro. This emotional back and forth doesn't bring you closer. It traps you both in a cycle that psychologists call mutual parasitism. That's just a fancy way of saying you both end up depending on each other's feelings to feel okay, instead of standing on your own. Lisa needs Mike to stay home to feel secure, so she uses guilt to keep him close. Mike needs Lisa to prove she cares by skipping her concert, so he pulls away to make her prove it. Over time, they're not growing as people. They're shrinking, becoming more and more dependent on each other's validation. That same Michigan study found that 50% of couples who rely on emotional dependency like this are twice as likely to break up within 3 years compared to couples who don't. Why? Because neither of them is really happy, man. They're just clinging to each other to avoid feeling bad. And that's not love. That's a trap. Here's where we gotta get real, bro. Have you ever been in a spot like Mike or Lisa? Maybe you felt that pit in your stomach when your girl pulls away, so you change your plans to make her smile again. Or maybe you've been the one pulling back, giving the silent treatment, hoping she'll come running to make things right. Most of us think this is just part of love, but that's a big mistake, man. It's not love. It's a power play, and it's keeping you both stuck, unable to grow, unable to be your best selves. Love should make you stronger, not smaller, but this emotional chessboard does the opposite. It turns you into pawns in each other's game. So why do we keep doing this, even when it backfires? And how can you stop playing this game without losing the connection you want? Let's dig into that next, because there's a way out of this trap, one that'll help you love without losing who you are. All right, bro, let's keep rolling with Lisa and Mike from Seattle, that couple we talked about last time, who were stuck in an emotional chess match. Lisa using guilt trips to keep Mike close, Mike pulling away to make Lisa stay. We've seen how both of them are playing this game with their feelings, trying to influence each other. But here's the thing, man. It's not just about those little moves they're making. There's a bigger trap they're both falling into, one that keeps them stuck, when able to grow. And it's something a lot of us do in relationships without even realizing it. It's called the savior complex. This idea that if you love someone enough, you can fix their problems, heal their wounds, make them whole. It sounds noble, right? Like you're being a good partner, a real man. But here's the hard truth, bro. Trying to fix each other doesn't make your relationship stronger. It keeps you both trapped in a cycle that stops you from growing. Let's break this down, because once you see this trap, you'll know how to step out of it and start building something real. Let's go back to Lisa and Mike for a minute. A few months into their relationship, Mike starts noticing that Lisa's got some heavy stuff going on. She's been struggling with anxiety ever since a rough breakup a couple of years ago. She has days where she's super quiet, overthinks everything, and even cancels plans because she's too overwhelmed. Mike loves her, man, and he wants to help. He starts doing everything he can to fix her. He's always checking in, asking if she's okay, canceling his own plans to stay home with her when she's having a bad day. He even starts reading self-help books on anxiety, thinking he can be her therapist, her rock, her everything. At first, Lisa seems to appreciate it. She leans on him, tells him how much she needs him, and Mike feels like a hero, like he's doing what a good boyfriend should do. But over time, bro, things start to fall apart. Mike's exhausted. He's put so much energy into fixing Lisa that he's neglecting his own life, his friends, his hobbies. He hasn't gone hiking in months, and he's starting to resent her for it, even though he won't admit it. And Lisa, she's not getting better. In fact, she's leaning on Mike even more, because deep down, she's starting to feel like she can't handle things without him. A 2021 study from the University of California found that 60% of couples where one partner has a savior complex report feeling unhappy after 3 years, because this dynamic doesn't heal anyone. It just keeps them stuck. Now, here's the flip side, bro. Lisa's got her own savior complex going on too. And it's just as messy. After a year with Mike, she starts noticing he's got some baggage of his own. He's been drinking more than he should, especially after tough days at work. Lisa sees this and thinks, I can help him. I can be the one to get him through this. She starts trying to fix Mike, cooking his favorite meals to keep him home, gently suggesting he skip happy hour with his coworkers, even looking up AA meetings in Seattle to nudge him toward getting help. Mike appreciates her effort at first. He cuts back a bit, tells her she's the best thing that's ever happened to him. But over time, he starts feeling smothered, like Lisa's trying to control him, and he pushes back by drinking even more. Lisa feels like a failure. She's pouring her heart into saving Mike, but it's not working, and now she's the one feeling resentful, wondering why he won't let her help. Both of them are caught in this trap, bro. Mike trying to save Lisa from her anxiety, Lisa trying to save Mike from his drinking. And neither of them is growing. They're just clinging to each other, hoping the other will change. Here's what's really going on, man. This savior complex isn't about love. It's about dependency. And it's something both men and women fall into. We've all been taught that love means fixing each other's problems, that if you care enough, you can heal someone's wounds. For guys, society drills this in hard. You're supposed to be the protector, the provider, the one who steps up when she's struggling. For women, it's the same deal. You're supposed to be the nurturer, the one who helps him through his rough patches. But here's the problem, bro. When you try to fix someone, you're not really helping them. You're making them dependent on you, and you're making yourself dependent on their need for you. Psychologists call this broken bird syndrome. You're drawn to someone who's struggling because it makes you feel needed, but that need keeps you both stuck. A 2023 study from the University of Texas found that couples who try to fix each other are 40% more likely to report feeling trapped in their relationship. Because neither of them is growing. They're just playing roles, the savior and the saved. Here's where we gotta get real. Bro, have you ever tried to fix someone you loved? Maybe you've been like Mike, putting your own life on hold to help your girl through a tough time, only to feel drained and resentful later. Or maybe you've been like Lisa, thinking you could save a guy from his demons, only to end up feeling like you failed. Most of us think this is what love looks like: helping, sacrificing, being there no matter what. But that's a big mistake, man. Love isn't about fixing each other. It's about supporting each other to grow on your own terms. When you try to play the savior, you're not just holding them back, you're holding yourself back too. So how do you break free from this savior complex trap? How do you stop trying to fix each other and start building a relationship where you both grow stronger, not smaller? Let's dive into that next, because I've got some real, practical steps to help you love in a way that doesn't cost you your own growth. All right, bro, we've been through the whole game of love together. How it can feel like a battlefield with hidden rules. How men and women play different moves because of evolution and society. How both of you use emotions to control each other. And how the savior complex keeps you stuck, trying to fix each other instead of growing. We've seen it all play out with John and Emma in Chicago, Lisa and Mike in Seattle, and maybe even in your own life, man. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay stuck in this cycle. You can break free, reclaim your power, and build relationships that don't drain you. They lift you up, make you stronger, and last. Let's wrap this up with some real, practical steps to get there, and a challenge that'll change how you love forever. Let's do this. Let's start with a guy named Jake. He's 30, living in Miami, and he's been with his girlfriend Rachel for about 2 years. Jake and Rachel started off great, but over time, they fell into the same traps we've been talking about. Rachel would get quiet and distant whenever Jake wanted to hit up his weekly basketball game with his boys, making him feel guilty for leaving her alone. Jake, on the other hand, would get moody when Rachel spent too much time with her friends, hoping she'd cut back to focus on him. They both tried to fix each other too. Rachel pushed Jake to open up more emotionally, thinking she could heal his quiet side, while Jake tried to calm Rachel's social butterfly vibe, thinking he could make her less anxious. Sound familiar, bro? They were caught in that emotional chessboard, playing the savior game, and it was draining them both. But Jake decided he was done. He wanted something better, something real. So he started taking steps to reclaim his power, and what happened next changed everything. Step 1. Recognize the power dynamics in your relationship, bro. Look at where you're trying to control her, or where she's trying to control you with emotions. For Jake, it hit him one night when Rachel got all quiet after he mentioned his basketball game. He realized she wasn't saying, "Don't go," but her silence made him feel like he had to stay. He also saw how he'd been doing the same thing, getting grumpy when Rachel went out with her friends, hoping she'd stay home instead. A 2023 study from the University of Illinois found that 80% of couples don't even notice these power plays until they start looking for them. But once you do, you can't unsee it. So take a hard look at your own relationship. Man, where are you using guilt, silence, or anger to get your way? Where's she doing the same? Write it down. Be honest with yourself, because seeing the game is the first step to stepping out of it. Step 2. Build your emotional autonomy, bro. Stop depending on her to feel okay about yourself. Jake started small. He picked up meditation just 10 minutes a day, using an app like Headspace to clear his head and get in touch with his own feelings. He also started journaling, writing down his goals, his fears, what made him happy outside of Rachel. Over a few weeks, he noticed a shift. He wasn't as shaken up by her moods anymore. When she got quiet about his basketball game, he didn't feel that same gut punch of guilt. He could say, "I'm going, babe. I'll see you after," without feeling like a jerk. A 2022 study from Harvard found that people who practice emotional autonomy, like through meditation or journaling, are 70% more likely to report feeling happy in their relationships because they're not relying on their partner to fix their feelings. You can do this too, man. Start with 10 minutes a day, focus on what makes you feel strong, and watch how it changes the way you show up. Step 3. Build a relationship based on equality, not dependency, bro. Once Jake started standing his ground, going to his basketball games, not letting Rachel's silence control him, he had a real talk with her. He said, "I love you, but I need my space to do my thing, and I want you to have yours too. Let's support each other, not hold each other back." At first, Rachel pushed back. She wasn't used to Jake setting boundaries. But over time, she started to respect it. She went out with her friends more, picked up a yoga class, and they both started growing as people, not just as a couple. They stopped trying to fix each other. Jake didn't push Rachel to be less social, and Rachel didn't try to make Jake her emotional crutch. A 2023 study from Stanford found that couples who focus on mutual growth, not emotional dependency, are 60% more likely to stay together long-term because they're building something real, not a trap. Here's the payoff, bro. Jake and Rachel are happier now than they've ever been. Jake's back to playing basketball every week, feeling like himself again, and Rachel's thriving with her yoga and friends. They're not perfect. They still fight sometimes, but they're not playing that emotional chess game anymore. They're equals, supporting each other to grow, not holding each other back. And the best part? Jake's confidence has spilled over into every part of his life. He's killing it at work, reconnecting with his boys, and he's attracting healthier relationships all around, not just with Rachel. That's what happens when you reclaim your power. Man, you don't just save your relationship, you save yourself. So here's my challenge for you, bro. Take one step this week to break free from the game. Pick one power dynamic you've noticed in your relationship. Maybe you're always canceling plans to make her happy, or you're pulling away to get her attention. Set a boundary, just like Jake did. Say, "I'm doing this for me, and I want you to do what makes you happy too." Do it for the next 7 days and see how it feels. Then come back here and drop a comment. Tell me how it went. What you learned. What changed. I bet your story's going to inspire another dude to do the same. And if you're ready to keep going on this journey, hit that subscribe button, because we've got more real talk coming to help you build relationships that don't just last, they make you better. Here's the big lesson. Bro, love isn't a game you win by controlling each other. It's a partnership you build by growing together. Stop trying to fix her. Stop letting her fix you. And start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. That's how you reclaim your power, and that's how you build a love that's worth having. One where you're both free to be real, strong, and happy. Let's do this, man. You've got this.